All right. We are back. It is Wisdom Wednesday. And we are in the midst of the week. This is my second favorite day of the week outside of the weekly Sabbath. And I'm just able to come together with my family from around the country. And, it just gets better and better and better week by week as we get to come together and we get to grow as a tribe. I got to use that word tribe, Sister Rebecca. We are growing as a tribe. We are a Wisdom and Wealth family. We come together. We are individuals who love the Most High, who are trying to walk in the ways of wisdom while simultaneously build generational wealth. Listen here, I am excited if you don't already know, because I'm about to bring to you a man who has been a, a brother to me, a friend, a coach, a person that's critique me. Sure, he doesn't always tell me what I want to hear. He tells me what I need to hear. You heard his extensive background last week. For those of you on here, you see how he's been able to teach and train and speak to over 8,000 business representatives. All right, he has trained with individuals like IBM, Verizon. The list goes on and on. I mean, there's so many different names that we could be saying. If you could think of a person, he's probably done conducted some level of training for them. So the list goes on and on. He is a husband of 32, I believe 32, 33 years. He has children that he's raising up in the ways of wisdom. And he has a plethora of groups, so many groups that he started when it comes to Black fitness, Black camping, Black entrepreneur, 1,000 different Black groups that he's over. All right, and the list goes on and on. So I want to introduce to you someone that's near and dear to me. All right, I have a tremendous amount of love and respect for him. Darwin, Yoel Burks, the floor is yours.
Peace and blessings to you, my dear brother Joseph, and to all those that are sharing in this call, in this conference meeting. It's a pleasure once again to share and to discuss. There's some things that have always been dear to my heart, and that is understanding one's gift, skills, talents, how to maximize one's resource. And so I tend to speak on leadership and things that would allow someone to see who they are and what they have, and for them to be encouraged in what they presently have to launch their empire, their global impact, their global influence, if you will. So, Brother Joseph, thank you so much, man. I appreciate the kind words, but often we don't see our impact, we don't see what we do until we do it, and rather until someone else echoes what you've done. So I'm humbled. I'm often thinking about who this brother introducing. It can't be me, but but thank you. I've seen your work. So let me just give you maybe 30 seconds of praise unto you, my dear brother. You have made an impact upon countless people. Those that are present here, those that were present for the virtual conference, those that were present for the actual conferences. You stayed committed. I've seen your some of your pains. I've seen some of your frustration up close and personal. But for you to be as consistent and as persistent and always looking to find ways to improve, that says a lot, not about just your character. I would like to say it says a lot about your character, but it says a lot about the essence of who you are and what you are becoming. You're always writing down words of influence and impact. You always pull out your notepad, and so you're a man that's looking to obtain great and greater and greatness. And so I need to say that I'm learning from you, and I appreciate your hunger and your passion. Please don't stop. Don't ever stop. Last week's discussion certainly will reflect what we're going to talk about today. It's becoming a kingdom strategist. There's some verses that we're going to read, both from the Old Testament and from the New Testament. There were 5 from each area. So I think I'm going to narrow that down to maybe, I hate to narrow down because there's a lot of stuff I want to share, but you will not be defrauded with what I do share. Brother Yosef, you have those scriptures. So the ones from the Old Testament, let's start with that. Let's look at Proverbs. If you can turn with me, everyone. Proverbs 3, verse 5. Let me pause for a second. Abba Yah, we thank you for wisdom. We thank you for grace. We thank you for insight, intelligence. We thank you for the influence you've provided each one in our own domain that you've allowed us to rule and operate in. Father, it's by your grace and by your authority do we operate in those things, and may your son Yahusha be glorified. Hallelujah, hallelujah. All right, so go with me. Go with me. I'm getting excited. I'm staring the coals up. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5. and 6. Brother, if you have that, go and read.
Absolutely. The book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 5 and 6. Trust in Yah with all thy heart, and lean not unto thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths.
Now, under each of these scripture references, I'm going to provide something that's really a highlight of what that verse has been saying. Here's the highlight: a foundational call to divine alignment in all strategy. Make sure whatever strategic approach you're looking to take, even if you're very intentional, very impactful in what you're writing, what you're declaring, what you're saying, be mindful that that's a foundation for where you're going to start from. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven.
Timing is a divine strategy. Again, the topic of our discussion is becoming a strategic in the kingdom work, becoming a kingdom strategist. So again, the highlight for that verse: timing is a divine strategy. Let's look at Isaiah 55 verses 8 through 9.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 55, verse 8 through 9. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, says Yah. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts.
Here's the highlight: strategic thinking begins with humility before Yah's higher wisdom. Let's go and read. I think we're going to read the rest of these that we have for the Old Testament. Proverbs 24, verse 6. Proverbs 24, verse 6.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 24, verse 6. For by wise counsel thou shalt make thy war, and in the multitude of counselors there is safety.
Here's the highlight: strategic collaboration is kingdom wisdom. People of color often, because of what we've had to endure as a nation of people, it's hard for us to identify what trust is or what it looks like. It's hard for someone that has offended you, that looks like you, that you thought cared for you, to consider that we can still build upon this, whatever the offense was, we can still build past this. Now, often other nationality people, they'll offend each other all day, but they still understand the common mission and the common objective. So whatever offenses you may have with the brother or sister, if you can work through those to mend the relationship, it's sad. And this is wise counsel, wise wisdom. You don't really know someone until you have your first argument. And you don't really know what becomes of that relationship until you have your first real powwow, whatever it may be, big or small. It might be an indifference. It might be a lifestyle. It might be some subtle character. You're worried. It's like you're just not jiving, but you know what? You can still learn to respect and build upon that relationship. So the highlight there, again, strategic collaboration is kingdom wisdom. Strategic collaboration is kingdom wisdom. Do you have wise counsel amongst you? Do you have counselors that you can pour into, that you can trust? There was an elder at the former church I attended. This is years ago. It's a Pentecostal church. His name was Elder Lee Smith. And I would call him and I would say, Elder, I hope I'm not taking up your time. Here's what he would say all the time. Brother Burks, you can call me anytime. I'm love to hear how the Most High is using you. He said, God, I love how God is using you. And he would just listen. And I'm just running my mouth and what I'm seeing, what the Most High is showing me and the scriptures, and he would just sit there and listen. And the counsel that he provided was not only was it his silence, but it was his elderly affirmation that you're on it, young man, don't stop. Of course, he had a lot of stuff to share with me. Let's look at Daniel chapter 2, verse 21. Daniel chapter 2, verse 21.
The book of Daniel, chapter 2, verse 21. And he changeth the times and the seasons. He removeth kings and set up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise and knowledge to them that knoweth understanding.
Yah is the ultimate strategist over nations and leadership. Do not think because you're way in the back and you're unseen and you came in early to set up chairs and you stayed late to sweep the floor that you are not seen. Don't ever think that there's a I don't know if it's a personality uniqueness or what, but anytime I walk into a conference space, or any kind of leadership assembly, any kind of church organization, because I work with many organizations, there's at least one or two people that I see, and they beam, they glow. It's always the parking attendant or someone maintaining the parking lot, maybe for security or safety, and it's almost always like the helper in the assembly. They look somewhat different. They look lowly. They look meek, and they're putting up chairs. They're picking up paper. I see them. They radiate. Others may not see them, but I see them. And those are often the people that have such a dynamic range of leadership because they're so meek in their approach and they're easily adaptable. They can what do you call it? They're flexible because they understand the vision, however small or large it may be. Let's go to the New Testament, brother. I think we're going to read all these. I think at the style or the approach we're taking, I think we can get get through a lot of these here. Let's think of Matthew chapter 10, verse 16. Matthew chapter 10, verse 16. Becoming a kingdom strategist.
The book of Matthew chapter 10, verse 16. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves.
A highlight, strategic discernment with kingdom character. If you really consider the wisdom of a serpent, there's a lot of things we can gain from that. There's a time to show yourself. There's a time to strike. There's a time to be a recluse and be quiet. There's a time where you just curl up and don't say anything. Don't do anything. You're non-aggressive. Then there's times where it's time to be braggadocious. If I could use that in a respectful kingdom way, it's a time to present yourself as who you are. Often we have to be reminded of who we are and what we provide. My wife, I can't tell you on many occasions, she said, baby, you're an IBM master instructor. You've taught engineers that work for NASA. You've taught engineers that work for Sprint. You've taught engineers that work for Delta. You've taught engineers that work for AT&T. And she goes on, she's the one that handles and coordinates the scheduling of me working with these clients. And so she has to remind me of that because we can take a lowly approach, but there's times in your development, and I say this to everyone, and please hear me from my heart to your heart. There are times when you as the lowly servant, there comes the time when you have to step forward. And you can't be apologetic. You can't measure yourself against people, whether they've been doing it longer and you've been doing it shorter. Well, I'm new at this, just pray my strength. No. It's time for you to show up and show out and do your thing. You know you've been qualified because you've been sitting way back in the shadows for years. You've observed everything. You've considered the nervousness. You've considered the resources. You've considered your name. Your character isn't as highly esteemed. But there comes a time when the Father will call you by your name and you're the only person standing at the podium. And you can't refer and defer and deflect and reflect. No, it's time to shine. What do you have to present to us? And you might be that person managing or facilitating some multi-billion-dollar project. You might be that person who just started an enterprise and you're charging prime rate when someone else before you, they're not even getting nowhere close to where you are because you finally accept it and you know your role, you know your assignment. So at some point, you have to step up from leader and servanthood, still remain a servant, but now you're a servant leader. You couldn't get me in front of anybody to do any kind of speaking, presentation, training, delivery. It wouldn't happen. No way, no way, no work time, no clothes. It just wasn't happening. You get me in front of a microphone, you get me in front of people, and man, something just happens. You can call it an unction, you can call it anointing, you can call it your call, you can call it your virtue. It just kicks on and I'm there. Now if I could segue just into this, I do a radio show now. So I'm speaking, I'm talking to people literally all over the world. Let's go to Luke chapter 14. Luke chapter 14, 28. Then I'm going to share some other scriptures or some other key points. Luke chapter 14, verse 28, my dear brother.
Luke 14, verse 28. For which of you intending to build a tower sitteth not down first and counteth the cost, whether he has sufficient to finish it?
Here's the highlight. Planning is a kingdom principle. Plan, plan, plan. Get away from the mindset. Now, I speak about mindsets when I talk about understanding your tools, resources, gifts, talents, and all that. I speak about the mindset because there's some presets and preconditions that we respond automatically. And if we're not true to ourselves, that becomes a crutch. Here's one. Well, I don't know what to do, but the Most High will show me. That sounds very good. But what did he show you 2 years ago? What he showed you, have you become obedient to what he showed you? Quit leaning upon him by saying he's going to do it. Of course he's going to do it. But you know what? He needs a vessel. You have to be an instrument. What prophet do you know of that never used his mouth? What writer, what author do you know of that never used a pen or a keyboard? What singer do you know of that's never held a microphone to sing a song? At some point, you have to be the vessel through which the Most High uses, and you can't just say, "Oh, he's going to do it." He wants to use you, and you have to know that he wants to use you. So again, planning is kingdom. Planning is a kingdom principle. Let's look at Matthew 6:33. I pray this is a blessing to each one. Yep, Matthew chapter 6, verse 33. I'm sorry, verse 33.
But seek ye first the kingdom of Elohim, or the kingdom of Yah, and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you.
Strategic prioritization of kingdom values. What's your strategy? What's your approach? How do you prioritize what to do? If it gives the Father glory, it's high on the list, then you do whatever you need to do. Whatever your gift, whatever your call is. And we're going to talk about, someone presented a question through personal WhatsApp, and I'm gonna provide some exchange on that, and I'll get to that in just a moment. John chapter 15, verse 5. John chapter 15, verse 5.
I am the vine, you are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me, you could do nothing.
All strategy must remain rooted in the vine. So if what you're doing strategically is rooted in the vine, all you need to do is do what you've enacted, do what you plan. Just know that you're in the will of the Most High if it gives the Father glory. If it's vine worthy. I hope this is a blessing to you, because I think sometimes we wrestle with things and we don't know the best approach. We don't know how. Like our dear sister had an opportunity or engagement where she was thinking too much about it. You know what my prayer has been as of recent? Father, help me remove the idea of thinking too hard about this. I think so hard. I'm very strategic, at least I try to be, but sometimes I don't just do it. I spend a lot of time thinking about it, and at some point, you really have to just do it. You really have to go in with dry mouth, cotton mouth. You have to go in sometimes with big sweat pits. You have to go in sometimes being conscious of how your breath smells. I had a sandwich with onions on it. People are looking at me like I smell funny. Many times you just have to go in with whatever you have and do the best you can. And what I found almost resiliently is that people will say, "Man, that was powerful." They're not paying attention to the sweat pits. They're not paying attention to how conscious I am of my breath, but they've received something. They received more than you think they received. All right, let's go to the fifth verse we'll read. This is Mark chapter 4, verse 11.
Mark chapter 4, verse 11. And he said unto them, unto you it is given to know the mystery of the kingdom of Yah, but unto them that are without, all these things are done in parables.
Brother, you got to read that again. I want everybody to get closer to the speaker, because you have to hear this, and you have to know this is for kingdom believers. Read that once again.
And he said unto them, unto you is given to know the mystery of the kingdom of Yah, but unto them that are without, all these things are done in parables.
Kingdom strategy is revealed. It is not invented. It's revealed. You'll have some idea and you think, well, that's not going to work. And then you go to sleep and you wake up and the same idea is sitting there looking at you in the face, and you shake it off. You're driving and you get this impression that the same thought, the same insight, the same reflection, the same thing, the same weight, even heavier. You get home and you feel this nagging thought, this idea. Why? You know why you can't be released from that? Because that's a kingdom revelation. And the Father often has to wrestle with us just to get us to receive something that's so different, so indifferent. It hasn't been done. And we often judge what we're to do based on what has been done. Well, the Father works in very unique, mysterious ways, and He's a pioneer. He's always invading different things and inventing different things, different thoughts. That's what He does. So when He infuses this inside your mind, inside your spirit, a thought that's now impregnated within your spirit, you have to manifest that. And if you don't, you feel sickly inside. I've been there, just felt sickly. I didn't release a word in time, or I held on to something, or didn't do something. Be responsive to what the Father's put into your heart. I'm going to move down to set it to another part of our artillery. Those are the scriptures. Hopefully you've written them down. Hold on to those. This segment right here, this section of this discussion of being a kingdom strategist, the section is called Being Strategic and Personal Development. So we got being strategic and personal development. We'll talk about business development. Another area, hopefully we have time, being strategic and building a centric community. That's what Joseph is doing right here. Being very strategic, being consistent, being mindful, taking advisement or counsel, should I adjust the time? Often people in high leadership, they don't change for nothing. But you have to if you're going to be strategic in building the kingdom. There's another area called misunderstandings of kingdom strategies, and then long-term benefits of becoming a kingdom strategist of Yah's kingdom. So we're going to go back up to this first area. Again, being strategic in personal development. I'm going to read these. Write them down if you can. Here we are. There's 10 pieces. Each one is 10. Hopefully I can get through all this in the time remaining. Being strategic and personal development. Here we are. 1, clarify your divine identity and purpose through scripture and prayer. 2, set SMART goals aligned with your calling. And I'll identify with SMART, their acronyms. We'll talk about that in a moment. Number 3, prioritize spiritual disciplines, fasting, study, solitude, or just being alone, as strategic habits. This is personal. This is before we get into the business piece, and this is very needed. 4, identify and overcome limiting beliefs with truth. Just this last weekend, just Sunday, I commit to these extended cardio challenges. I was doing them once a month. Now I'm probably going to do them weekly. I'm always up in the morning doing cardio. But just over the weekend, my challenge was a 20-mile committed cardio run/walk. And I completed 20 miles. There's things I've learned. One thing that I've learned is that I can't hang around someone with a 2-mile mindset if I'm trying to learn the discipline to acquire 20 miles. That's not to diminish or reduce or look little of them. But what they can offer me is up to 2 miles, and I appreciate everything that they would have. But if I'm trying to think 20 miles, I need to talk to someone that understands, okay, when you do your drink mix, you mix this following ratio so your body has the proper electrolytes. Take salt tablets. Take shoe insoles. Swap them out every few miles. Purposely stretch, whether you feel like you need to or not. That kind of advisement, what they do is they allow me to take that journey much further. And so in that 20-mile walk, as I finish up, I'm stiff, I'm cramping up, I'm feeling good, but I like how it feels. Now I'm already thinking, is it too early to consider a 30-mile run, 30-mile walk? Is it too early? Am I being too ambitious? If I'm around people that don't understand that kind of self-challenge, here's what I'll hear. Well, brother, I would just be careful. You don't want to get out there and injure yourself. They're well-meaning. Brother Joseph, you wrote your 3rd book. Brother, slow down, man. Just because you don't have to be braggadocious. Because every time we see you with the books, brother, you just doing this for money. Let me echo something. At some point, because I've got to this point when I do my DJ music services, everybody's always asking for a discount. I was so happy that the most recent last week, I had a couple requests. I gave them a rate that I knew was outside of their domain, outside of their budget. I was so happy when they said, I can't afford that. The reason I became so happy is because I finally pierced through this limiting factor, this belief system that what I had to offer wasn't worth as much as what it was for 4 hours of DJ services. Here's my rate. I'm not gonna, but you know what? Somebody else will. And so, how you present yourself, people buy confidence. They don't buy products or solutions, they acquire those, but they purchase confidence. At some point, Brother Joseph, when they say you're doing it for money, you need to say, yes, I am. I'm doing it for money because I'm trying to get us out of this poverty mindset. I work with homeless. I work with them all the time. Brother Joseph, you've been down here, you've seen the community, your community as well in certain areas. There's a need. I've seen what poverty looks like. I shared this last week. Poverty has a smell, it has a look, it has a language, it has it's uncomfortable, it has a certain attitude. Poverty is a spirit. Now, greed is also a spirit. But imagine someone that you've known through the years who've shown themselves faithful and consistent and shown themselves available to travel miles and miles to sit with brothers or sisters. Just, and I say this to quantify, to qualify. I'm not reducing the word. Please understand. But he'll drive miles just to break bread so they can feel encouraged and loved. You're looking at Brother Joseph. That's what he does. So at some point, when he steps to the forefront, as he has been doing, as he is, yes, I am doing this to make money because I'm trying to build this platform, this organization. I'm trying to build other leaders. I'm trying to travel the world and the nation because I'm trying to impact people to get away from this impoverished mindset where they don't have enough. They can't think big. They can't think global. They're not willing to expand. They're stuck in the rut of people and how people perceive them. Let me move on. I think I was around strategic. Four, let me read four once again. Identify and overcome limiting beliefs with truth. Number 5, cultivate emotional intelligence and self-awareness. 6, develop a growth mindset rooted in grace and preservation. 7, seek mentorship and accountability from mature believers. That doesn't mean you have to believe everything they say and how they do it and the way they've done it. But what can you gain? A dear person I employed years ago, he said he spoke highly of his father. He said, man, my father said that you can learn from anyone. He said, so I was in my father's vehicle and he's driving. And he said, Dad, that man over there is drunk. And he laughed like, Dad, what can I learn from him? And his father responded, you can learn not to be like him. So you can always have the attitude of learning. Always, always, always. So you can be mentored for anyone. Again, doesn't mean you have to agree with everything. Number 8, reflect regularly to assess progress and adjust course. 9, steward your time and energy with intentionality. Be very intentional. Ladies, men, in business or not, it is okay to say no with no explanation to follow. Sis, can you help me with this? I really need you. You've been such a blessing. Last at it, I'm not available that day. That's it. That's all you got. That's all you need to say. You ain't got to get into the reason why. That's it. That's what I'm saying. That's it. That's all you have to say. Many times we have to learn to say no, and it takes confidence within ourselves. If you know that the Father has released you to do something, do that. If you know that He told you not to participate, then it's simple no. And it's okay. That's all part of being a strategist in the kingdom. All right, this next area, there's 10 bullets as well. Being strategic in business development. Now, put your thinking cap on. Be very strategic. Be intentional. I love to use these words. Number 1, define your mission and values through a kingdom lens. If you are in business, let me help you understand. You're not in business so you can make friends. You're not in business so the family can love you that much more. I attended a business one-on-one class many years ago, and the instructor, he asked everybody, why are you in business? And people rose their hands. Because I like to help people. I like to do this. I like to make people feel this, this, and that. And he said, that's all well and great. But let me give you a rule for business. Your rule in business is to make money. And he stopped right there and he looked at us. If you want to do it because you feel good, great, but that's not the reason why you're in business. Businesses don't survive if you're just looking to feel good. And he looked at us again. And I had to think about that because I want, as kingdom strategists, I want us to understand in the business component, your passion and desire should be to make money. That's the reason why you're in business. If that's not the case, ask your employer why are they in business. And I can guarantee your employer will say, we're looking to make business in the marketplace. We provide a product, we provide a service, we're good at what we do. And by the way, we need you to work overtime. They're not doing that because they like you. That you're probably good at what you do, but they're using your skill and your talent, and more importantly, your time to make money. Get rid of this idea that we need to be afraid of money and we shouldn't talk about it. Just tuck it away in the shadows and kind of have hush hush. When is a good time to pull our families out of the rut? Every Thursday at 11 at 12 o'clock, 12 to 1, our family comes together. We'll open up in prayer. We go to the whiteboard. We're talking about marketing, business, branding, what event space can we use? What's the best way to present and sell this home? What's the best way for me to market DJing to a different platform of people where the caliber is much higher and the rate is much higher? Often in these high prestigious areas where they pay a higher rate, you do less DJing. They just want to hear some music. Press play and step back. Wave at people. All that cutting and scratching, they don't care for none of that. They don't care. Just play the music, brother. Play some jazz, play some ambient music, kind of fill the silence up with some music. Festivities, get on the mic every now and then, make people feel good. People will pay for that. Number 2, conduct a SWOT analysis. SWOT is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. That means get out a sheet of paper and whatever your business is, what are your strengths? What do you provide for this service or this product? You may have a good product, but you just don't do well at sales. You don't understand the impact of social media. You don't know how to communicate well. It's okay. One thing that makes anyone a better instructor or a better presenter is to look at critiques and evaluations that are provided for them. Of all the 8,000 people that I've trained, I've been evaluated 8,000 times. And some of those evaluations made me just want to go sit in some corner and just eat jello or just eat some the whipped cream or something meaningless, crying in the mirror and look at myself crying. I'm only joking. But man, they really, man, they said I spoke too long on this product, and this other person in the same class said I was going too fast. So which is it? Going too fast? Going too slow? This person said I was highly technical. This person said I dumbed it down and I said to use more technical language. So what I've learned here, let me just give an example. What I've learned in courses where you have more than 4, maybe up to 12 people, I've learned to provide both. To share highly technical language and then to slide back to the other side and reduce the delivery as though I'm talking to a 3rd grader. So I've learned you can do that all within the same breath, all within the same delivery mechanism. And next thing you know, evaluations are great because you spoke to every person's experience. Each person has a unique experience. You're one instructor teaching to 12 people, 12 different perceptions. All right, number 3, identify your target audience and their needs. That has to happen all the time. And it's very possible if you're looking to provide premium services, you will have to develop a whole different target audience. You have to. Let me read number 4. Did I say number 4? Okay, let me read it anyhow. Build systems that reflect integrity and excellence. Yeah. Number 5, leverage partnerships that align with kingdom ethics. You can't partner with everybody. That doesn't mean you can't use this as a person that sells, products you need to acquire wholesale and then resell. I'm not talking about that. We're talking about those allegiances, those alliances where you would hope to get some gain or some benefit. And if you sense something that's irregular or not profitable for the relationship and also for the kingdom, you need to put that on pause or dismiss that entirely. Number 6, innovate with purpose, not just profit. Number 7, use data and feedback to refine your approach. Data is the best tool that can speak to where you are in your industry. The training industry has slowed down significantly since the release of AI. That's just where we are. So I can boohoo and cry, or I could probably learn AI. My son said, Dad, let's create an AI company. He has an LLC. I got an LLC. My wife has an LLC. We all got LLC. My daughter and my nephew, we're all separate business owners. He said, Dad, let's create an LLC between you and I. Let's create this AI technology company because we're going to help customers on how to acquire and obtain more customers and to build a CRM, a big massive database where they could constantly be in communications with their clients about products they offer and sell. I said, okay, I'm with you, son. So here we are now. We formed a company and we're providing AI technology tools. So you can stay where you are and look at the data and pray, or you could change your approach and still pray. Your mindset has to adapt to where the industry is. You still become a kingdom strategist. You're now moving into an uncomfortable area, which I'm finding is all progress. Don't stop because it's uncomfortable. Okay. That was number 7. Use data and feedback to refine your group. Number 8, invest in leadership development and team culture. Part of my leadership development is I'm always listening to books or reading books. My goal is 250 books. I think I'm close to 100 already. I just listen to books, and I'll take the audible speed at real high, like twice, and the words are flying, but I'm able to capture what they're saying rather fast. Number 9, practice generosity as a business principle. Okay, you may not be able to split the or pay for the meal all the time when you go out, but you know what? I'll pay for mine, you pay for yours, but I'll handle the tip. I'll drop the tip. Don't you worry about that. You know, showing generosity reflects both the character and really the purpose of what's in you, and that people like how that makes them feel. Like you care enough about me to say don't leave a tip. No, I will split the tip. No, I got it. And it's a pleasure to be here to eat with you. Number 10 on this list about being strategic in business development. Number 10, anchor all decisions in prayer and prophetic insight. Anchor all decisions in prayer and prophetic insight. Anchor all decisions in prayer and prophetic insight. So those are the 10 items under being strategic in business development. Now I'm going to move down to this category. Being strategic in building a centric community. Now the centric community, we can use this as an example. 10 minutes? 10 minutes? Okay. We can use this as an example, but you could also build other communities. We can build other communities. It doesn't have to just be a wisdom and wealth. It could be a women's conference, our women's prayer group, our young men's, our technology component. Number 1, center the community around shared kingdom values. I can't tell you, I rock with both Israelites and Christians because I connect with values. I don't get into these debates and these isms and schisms and discussion. There's some things I stand upon. There's other things, as a kingdom believer, I have to give you a platform to speak and share. I can't just knock you just because we're all in a stage of development. We are. Number 2, empower local voices and co-create solutions. Number 3, really quickly, build trust through transparency and consistency. Number 4, identify and mobilize existing assets and gifts. Number 5, create feedback loops for continuous improvement. Always look to improve. Always. Just make it a cycle that goes up and down, up and down. Always look to improve. No matter if you think it's perfect, always look to improve. Number 6, foster independence, not dependency. I can be independent in my resolve to make decisions and to go forward, but that does not mean I don't have a trusted or trusting relationship with you, because I may ask you, what's your thought on the following? I could take that, embrace that, and I still remain my independence, still remain my sense of resolve, my sense of branding, but you've given me value. Number 7, use technology to enhance, not replace connection. Number 8, celebrate small wins to build momentum. Number 9, equip leaders from within the community. Number 10, align community goals with long-term kingdom impact. I would really do embrace questions. If you can present those, I'm going to go to this other last I think this might be the last one. I know we're winding down, but I want to give space for comment and response. Misunderstandings of kingdom strategies. 10, really fast. Number one, mistaking the kingdom for a political or earthly system. It is not. It is not earthly, it's not political. The Most High speaks through dreams, visions, insights. He provides wisdom. He does things the way he so fits. We just have to respond to them. Number two, believing strategy is unspiritual or worldly. Strategy is not unspiritual. It's not worldly. It's called being a strategist. You're strategic. You are very strategic. 3, assuming the kingdom is only future and not present. 4, confusing charisma with divine strategy. They are different. 5, overlooking the role of suffering and sacrifice. You have to, if you're looking to become great and the Father's called you into a greatness arena, you're going to have to endure your name being slandered, talked about, misunderstood, discounted, dissuaded, discouraged. It's coming your way, and it's going to have your name on it with a big old bow. And you got to deal with it. And it's uncomfortable when people talk about your name, and you're sitting there trying to defend something that have to be defended. It will happen. Get ready. But that's all part of your growth, right? Number 6, equipping success, equating success with numbers rather than obedience. Don't be so, success is great, but don't look at the numbers as the only thing you need to consider. 7, ignoring the Holy Spirit's role in planning. Never ever ignore the Holy Spirit's role in planning and being a strategist. 8, separating sacred and secular vocations. No, I had a flyer. Someone asked me, hey, can you DJ for this event? Last year, we happened to do something on the same day at the same location. Different engagements, but we were there. We connected. We swapped business cards. We want you to work with us next year. We'll talk. Well, here's next year. Here's a flyer. And on the flyer, they said, back to school event, live DJ, da-da-da-da-da-da. Now, I never committed, but they had it on the flyer anyhow. On the flyer, they had an image of marijuana, a reefer leaf on the flyer. Do I want to associate with this? I could and still represent the kingdom, but do I want to associate with this? I made a decision not to associate with that. Thank you so much, but I'm not available. That was it. I didn't get into the reefer on the flyer. It's a back school event. Doesn't make sense to have that on there. But anyhow, number 9, expecting instant results without process. You being a strategist, it's a process. I can't tell you how many people saying, Brother Yoel, you need to write a book. Brother Joseph, he tells me all the time, you need to write a book. You need to write a book. You need to write a book. It's uncomfortable, but you know what? I need to write a book. I got so much to share and so much to relay. I need to write a book. Period. I can't duck and dodge it. I need to write a book. So I got something that I'm working on. Number 10. So there's a process. That's what I'm saying. Reducing kingdom strategy to formulas or trends. It's okay to have a process, a structure, a strategy. It's okay to know what to do if this doesn't work, know what to do if that doesn't work. But have you gone back in the prayer, fasting, and the word? I'm going to stop right there. There's a list of some others, but I want to give way for questions. Before I entertain the questions, and I know we got a few minutes, I want to share really fast. Again, prep your questions. Someone wanted to know the difference between purpose and call. I provided a discussion of that last week. I'm going to give a little more. This is more than what I shared last week, but I want to try to keep this brief. The difference between purpose and call is subtle but powerful, especially for someone who's deeply invested in strategic thinking, faith, and community impact. Let's break it down really fast. Purpose versus call. The definition for purpose: the reason for your existence, your why. The reason for your existence. Call, the uniqueness in that, it's a specific assignment or a mission. Your what and how. A call can change, or you can reach the end of a particular call and find yourself restless. You're praying, you're fasting, you're reading the word, and it's like, I'm not getting anything. That's because you've reached the end of one call, and now another call is being prepared, or something that's already been presented to you. You're just uncomfortable. I got to speak publicly. I got to talk about robotic technology? That's not my thing. Well, it is today, or it is this week. You get 7 days. This is uncomfortable, Father. He knows that. That's why he gave it to you. Because often he'll give you something that's so uncomfortable that takes you so far out of your range of discipline. You now have to step into the knowledge of those that know, or you have to read resources and material. I can't tell you how many times I've been given training assignments that I had no knowledge of. This doesn't happen all the time. So I want you to understand, I try to be very disciplined when I train clients and they're paying me to train. There's times I've gotten up at 3 or 2 in the morning, and from 2 until 7 o'clock, I'm reading, I'm studying, I'm researching, I'm going through manuals and PDFs and documents, and I'm trying to get this. And man, the class starts at 8, and I've been going at it for 5 hours and just almost no sleep, nodding off. When I'm there in front of the client, whether it's in person or virtual delivery, welcome class. My name is Strategist-Yoel Burks. I'm your instructor for the next 5 days. Today we're going to be talking about data storage and long-term data retention. Some keywords we want to point out is what is replication. We're going to highlight all this stuff in just a moment, but I want to come around and shake your hand, and I want you to share with me why you're here for this class. And they're like, it's like, this dude know what he's talking about. As of 1 hour ago. So there are times when you're presented opportunities to trust in the Most High's grace when you're not prepared, and he knows it. But did you embrace the challenge and the call? Scope for purpose, broad and lifelong, call, narrow, and often seasonal, situational. I can give more. I think I'll share this with the person. I'm Brother Yosef. I'm gonna share this with everyone. So hope you don't mind me posting it. So I want to provide room for questions. Thank you so much for allowing me to have your attention. I realize it's 1 minute after 7. I want to be sensitive to the dictates of what are in place. We have a question from Rebecca. Let me pull my chat thing down here. Okay. Did I answer that? Also, how does a person find theirs? Oh, I can answer that part. The latter part of your question, very easy, very, very easy. When I teach about understanding your skills, your talents, your gifts, your resources, all that stuff, and how to appropriate those, because we're all in our either when we begin to work and operate in our business or ministry, or when we're seasoned, we're presented with the same thing. What am I good at? What do I do? So ask yourself the following question. Here's what I'm going to present, and write these down for everyone. If you can do 5 things, what would they be? Now, again, write those down. I know you're kind of under pressure. What would it be? Money's not an issue. What would it be? For me, I would like to travel. I like to spin music. I like to do outreach. I like to help the homeless and the young adults. And that's probably it. 4. Oh, and I love to operate business. I love entrepreneurship. Love entrepreneurship. Quick, I just spewed that out. Now, with those 5 things that you've written down rather speedily, doesn't matter how much money is involved. What would you do if you combine all those? Oh man, I would provide leadership training. By the way, a little segment. I'm talking with someone now about the use of their facility to host business workshop classes. That's happening right now. Okay, so ask yourself, what can you do? What can you do with travel? Man, I'm looking to let me look at some travel opportunities. Ministry outreach, I'm already doing that. So look at what you would enjoy doing and how you would do that. And the other thing, and I know I'm kind of bouncing around, but I want you to think of the following. Here's the other question. What resources do you have? Write them down. The first resource we often have or don't have is money. We don't have enough. Okay, write it down. How do you acquire money? Every time I ask for money and for an opportunity, the Father shows me use your gifts, skills, and talents. Every single time. I've given you the power to obtain wealth. I've given you the power to obtain wealth. I've given you the power to obtain wealth. All right. Now, if you don't think you have enough resource, this right here, let me hold it up. All of you may answer this in once. If I say, what is this? You'd all say, well, that's a phone. I manage a lot of Facebook groups. One of our groups, we gained over about 1,020 people all within 28 days, probably less than that. That's the Black Gardening Group. the Black Fitness Group has 4,000 people. My hope is that by the end of this year, we'll have well over 10,000, hopefully 20,000. So what you think is something so insignificant? There have been movies. I forgot the name of the movie. There's been a couple movies where the producers brag that they recorded the entire movie and shot every scene from an iPhone. I'll try to find the name of that movie. So what you do is you take what you have and you maximize that thing. I got some projectors. I got a DJ set this weekend. For the first time, I'm gonna set everything up together. I've set them up separately. We're talking about these big old 20-foot, 22-foot projector screens, big massive things with the high projectors pushing out the back. DJ-Yoel, some animation, pretty much like you see behind me, and me with my big boy speakers, rocking the whole set in a community park. So you take what you have and you maximize it. These things right here, you're thinking, well, this is kind of disgusting. Why is he holding up some old shoes? These shoes just Sunday gained 20 miles. And about a month ago, they gained 15 miles. Just this morning, they gained 5 miles. I'm putting in cardio. So often you have to take what you have. And as a result, I've started doing community fitness events now every week, every Sunday. So you think that, well, I'm not that good of a speaker. Well, why don't you talk about the fear of public speaking? Take what you have, own it. Don't turn away from it. And just own. What is it like to be up here in front of people to speak about something I have no knowledge about? I'm nervous. So let's talk about what makes someone nervous. If often a result of their heightened breathing, that's often a result of not feeling confident, and not feeling confidence based on 3 or 4 factors. You can break everything down to science, and your mere ability just to communicate that will empower all those that are listening to you, and they will think, man, can you come to our church, our assembly, our fellowship? Can you come to our women's group and just talk about how you overcame public speaking? What they don't know is you're still overcoming it. I want to stop right there. Please, if you can unmute the group, I would welcome inbound